What's up guys, the Golf Guy here, and I'm super excited to be taking my final trip of 2022. I'm going to be visiting LA to see my sister for the holidays, and of course, because it's LA, it's going to be warm, and I'm going to be bringing my golf clubs. One of the questions I've occasionally gotten is, hey, how do you pack for golf trips? What are some of your best practices to make sure your golf clubs get to your final destination safely? So I figured I'd put together a quick video outlining some of my tips and tricks to make sure my clubs always get to my final destination safe and secure, and hopefully you guys find this helpful for when you guys travel next. First things first, there's going to be two pieces of equipment you need to travel with your golf clubs. The first is a travel bag. I have a Srixon one. They come in all sorts of makes and models, but I highly recommend if you're in the market for a new one to get one A with wheels and B that is cushioned to really protect your golf clubs. The second piece of equipment you'll need is a stiff arm. These essentially sit in your golf bag like a golf club, but provide extra support to make sure that nothing gets compressed or squished when they're going through transit. Alright guys, the first thing I do when packing for any golf trip is to first make sure my golf clubs are cleaned. The last thing I want is when I show up to a nice course for my grooves to be all dirty from the last round. From there, I like to add 3 accessories in abundance. The first, extra golf gloves. These are often a fortune at pro shops, especially at resorts, and so packing a few extras will save you a few bucks. Similarly, extra golf balls. These are always marked up to the highest possible price at resorts, and so bringing a few extra to make sure you're all locked and loaded ahead of time, super helpful. And tees. A lot of fancier courses will give you free tees, but not all of them, so I like to make sure I have enough in advance. Now, the clubs that are most likely to get damaged when you travel are your woods and drivers. So if you have an adjustable one, I highly recommend taking the heads off and storing them separately. It's the best way to protect them. One quick tip before you actually do take off the heads for your woods and drivers is to make sure you mark down the settings for your clubs. Many of you have probably been custom fit for these and have specific settings you guys are used to, and so the last thing you want is when you travel to forget these important settings. One friendly reminder, make sure you actually pack the wrench after you take your heads off. The last thing you want is to get to your final destination and not have a way to put your woods back together. From here, one thing I'll do is I'll take my towel and then wrap it around the shafts in my bag, just as another layer of protection for everything. One other travel hack I like to use as well is actually using socks as iron head covers. I'm not a big fan of actual iron head covers, but when I do travel, I don't love the idea that my clubs will clank against each other all the way through the flight, and so I'll actually use the clean socks that I'm going to bring on the trip as a cover to put on my irons. All right, final steps. Let's put our stiff arm in the bag, make sure it is good to go, and then let's get this thing loaded. And then we can throw in the shoes, and she is good to go. All right, folks, that's a wrap. That's exactly how I pack my golf clubs for every trip I take. I hope you guys found this helpful, and definitely stay posted for some future LA content.